Hi, my name is Michael Queenan, co-founder and director of Nephos Technologies. So our definition of the cloud is very simple. We believe the cloud is a new way to consume IT. It moves IT from a product and software platform to more of a services and provisioning methodology. There are a number of terms being bandied around at the moment, things like infrastructure as a service, software as a service, platform as a service. I think when you look actually to the bottom of all of them, all it means is it fundamentally changes the way that people procure IT services. The current state of the cloud market is in some serious growth stage at the moment. In fact, if anything, it's too quick. There are too many companies trying to use and utilise the term cloud to provide an offering which isn't actually a cloud-specific offering. There's lots of people trying to get into this market and lots of people trying to re-educate or reinvent themselves as a cloud provider. To that extent, we're seeing the big need at the moment for somebody with an independent overview, for somebody that can look at the market and actually understand the market. There's too much information out there at the moment from too many different providers, actually giving customers complications and making it difficult for them to understand actually what cloud means. There are a number of common misconceptions around cloud, specifically around public and hosted private cloud. I think the biggest common misconception is that there's a vast degree of compliance and security issues between the two. Fundamentally, they're very, very similar platforms. It's just that the hosted private cloud is a lot more similar to what customers and companies are used to using in their own data centres, whereas the public cloud have utilised more of the shared infrastructure of shared services, shared servers and shared storage. Nowadays, especially with the invention and the introduction of cloud services brokerage, what they can actually add is an additional layer of compliance and security onto the public cloud offering, where you get the benefit of the public cloud price model with the security and the compliance of a private hosted cloud environment.
My name's Lee Biggenden. I'm the director and co-founder of Nephos Technologies. One of the key drivers to migrating to SaaS services is the consumerisation of IT. Most companies are looking for anywhere, any device type access to their data and to their application sets. Consumerisation is really driving that SaaS model, and it's a leveller for SMEs as well as large end enterprises to be able to take hold of that core infrastructure that a small, medium enterprise probably wouldn't have been able to build themselves or fund, and to take it on a consumption-based model. We see the future of cloud computing as a much tighter integration between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service and software as a service. Right now, I think organisations are moving point applications in their entirety to a cloud provider. But what they're not doing is actually developing that through. Cloud computing gives them an opportunity to bind those things together and to create a software environment that actually is much more beneficial to the business. When customers move their services to the cloud, there are a number of legal considerations that they need to make. Kind of carved into two different areas really. First is around the data itself. Where's it being held? Who has access? And is it secure? That's been one of the key barriers to organisations looking to migrate to cloud. The second area is focused more on the physical location of the data centre and the standard of the data centre. There are a number of key considerations to make there and a number of things to look for, such as ISO 27001, SAS 70 to name two. But getting an understanding from your cloud provider as to the status of their environment is key to making sure that you're compliant with your own regulatory standards.
I think there's a number of barriers to entry to look at for businesses looking into cloud. I think first off, it is a complete mind shift. I think people have to stop looking at being able to architect solutions themselves and being able to look at leveraging what the cloud gives them, how they can use that, and the ability to right size an environment by utilising the services that are actually in the cloud, rather than worrying about specifically deploying the correct amount of hardware, which is what previous problems they used to have. Also looking at seeing which elements or which services they can outsource to the cloud. I think the lack of understanding at the moment is a fundamental barrier to entry. They're not sure which services they can outsource, which services they should outsource, or which services are even available for them to outsource to the cloud. I think there are some key fundamental implications of the cloud to businesses, specifically the IT department. I think the biggest change for them is that they're going to be moving from being custodians of the IT assets and actually just looking at managing day-to-day assets to moving to being provision of service. I think the biggest problem they've got is, and one of the key reasons why the cloud hasn't been embraced quite so highly as potentially it could have been, is that people are scared, especially people within the IT industry are scared that cloud is going to take some of their jobs. I fundamentally disagree with that. I don't think cloud is going to take some of their jobs. I think all it's going to mean is that the jobs within the IT function are going to change, and they're going to become more looking at how to drive innovation and how to drive the provision of services and how to get those services out faster to their customers. So actually, it's going to become a much more dynamic industry rather than worrying about just managing the day-to-day assets of IT.